Good morning. I will now call the committee to order. I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have a few bills this morning, so let's get started. I will remind everyone that public comment was taken in the Committee of Origin for several of the bills, and the patrons and the public had the opportunity to discuss the bills during those meetings. We will be hearing public comments on bills where we are the Committee of Origin. And I'd like to start with Senate Bill 677. And of course, this is a tax bill, and it is Senator Durant. Yes, there she is.
Good morning, Madam
Good
Chair,
morning.
members of the committee. Senate Bill 677 is a clarification and technical. I'm so sorry. First, Madam Chair, I have a substitute.
You have a substitute?
Yes, ma'am.
Move the substitute, please.
Move the substitute.
Second.
All in favor of the substitute, please say aye.
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 Thank you, Madam Chair. If may I speak to the substitute? So, lines 43 through 50 is the substitute, which provides clarifying language without substantive changes to the original language. And I'll go ahead and speak to.
Just a second. We don't have it. I need the.
It's online.
It's on. Well, could you please explain to us the difference between the substitute and the original bill?
Sure. Madam Chair, the substitute just changes pretty much one line from the introduced bill. Instead of an increase in the tax rate or an increase in all real estate assessed, it now refers to a 1% increase. So that's the only change from the introduced version. Otherwise, it's the same clarification.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the original bill that we passed referred to proposed rate, and I will phone a friend because I have some of the Commissioners' Revenue who can offer a better explanation than I. But just speaking to it, it's a clarification and technical amendment to the House Bill 1942, which was passed by the Senate last year, and it clarifies and strengthens existing property tax law by providing that much needed clarification for taxpayers. Real estate values and tax bills continue to rise throughout the Commonwealth, and so do the frustrations of property tax. Real estate assessments are not used to generate tax revenue. They are used to redistribute the tax burden, and that tax revenue is created annually by the local governing body throughout the tax rate. Virginia law is quite clear that the burden of taxation lies with the governing body of a locality and not with the assessment office. That effective tax rate is the rate that offsets the impact of the assessment, plus it allows for 1% growth for inflation. When a board or a council votes to set a new rate following an assessment, they are voting from that reduced rate and not from the prior year's tax rate. It has become common practice that we see some of that going forward from one year to the next, and this creates automatic or built-in tax increases without the public understanding of the actual process. So this misconception creates some frustration with taxpayers, and that the tax rates were not increased, and so yet they see some of them grow by 10 to 15% a year. So this 677 requires that the locality put the effective tax rate on the reassessment notice so taxpayers can clearly see the impacts of the reassessment and any subsequent tax increases. The bill is limited to counties conducting annual or biannual reassessments, since those taxpayers are faced with regular increases in property tax bills. So, and as I said, Madam Chair, I've got some folks from the Commission of the Revenues from Stafford County, and I believe Fauquier County as well, that are happy to come up and speak to if there's any further questions on it.
I'd first like to turn my attention to the committee. Any questions of the patron? Those speaking in favor of the bill?
Anyone online wishing to speak in favor of the bill, please raise your hand now.
Scott Mayoski, Commissioner of the Revenue for Stafford County. We support this bill as it provides clarity and better understanding of the assessment process for our taxpayers. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'm Katie Boyle with the Virginia Association of Counties, and we support this bill as a clarification to the legislation that you all passed last year. There has been some confusion out there among localities about how they could comply because of the way that last year's bill was worded. It discussed information regarding a proposed tax rate, and in a number of localities, when they send those assessment notices out, they don't have a proposed tax rate yet. So there's been some confusion. We have worked with Arlington County, has a similar bill working through the House side. Just to be clear about how localities are supposed to comply with this. We were not necessarily in favor of this legislation last year, but we do feel that if that policy decision has been made, that localities need to know what to do to comply, and this provides that clarity. So thank you.
Eric Maybach, Fauquier County Commissioner of Revenue, and we absolutely support this bill. The need for transparency is there. It'll help all of our constituents understand the tax bill a little better. Thank you.
Thank you. Others speaking in favor?
Madam Chair, you have one online.
Please go ahead, online.
You may unmute and speak, Derek Duke.
Good morning, Derek Dubay, Arlington County. I am the assessor there, and I work with several others to work on this clarification. It is needed so that we can continue to offer the transparency that was given in the original bill and clarify what localities need to do to get the tax rate out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any opposition to the bill? I would think not.
Move to report.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill will be reported with at the substitute.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Okay, Senator Peake, we'd like to hear from you next.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This is Senate Bill 114, and currently localities are allowed to offer tax breaks to volunteer emergency services. This bill would extend that authority to professional firefighters and professional law enforcement. It's completely voluntary for the locality. There's no financial impact to the state, and each locality could determine whether or not they want to give this incentive, these tax incentives, to paid firefighters and paid law enforcement. So it's just expanding it from volunteer to actual paid. And with the problems that a lot of localities are having with obtaining law enforcement people and firefighters, it's just another avenue for them to add some. Would not be income, so it wouldn't be tax. So it's a way to give them some benefits if they live in their community. So it brings these people into their community, allows them to give them a little extra benefit, and that is it.
Thank you. Pretty simple bill. Are there any members of the committee have questions? Senator Eben?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to ask Senator Peake if how many localities are seeking this authority and have come to the General Assembly for this?
I was requested by the city of Lynchburg. One of the members of City Council asked me to do it. And
thank you, Madam Chair.
It's completely, Madam Chair, Senator Eben, it is completely voluntary, so they don't have to do it.
Senator Locke?
I was simply going to follow up a little bit on Senator Eben's question, which is, although there's no impact on the state, there will be a fiscal impact to localities if they choose to do this.
Madam Chair, yes, Senator Locke, but it's completely up to them to decide to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Next in queue is I have Senator Favola, Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as I read the bill, it doesn't appear to be any timeline around the credit. Would the credit be for that specific tax year, or could the credit just extend? And how would the county calculate that credit? Is that permissive as well?
Madam Chair, yes, Senator Favola, they already do it. They're already allowed to do it for volunteers, so it's each tax year. It's property taxes for the most part. So they give them a break on their property taxes, so it's each year. They already do it for volunteer fire departments. This just allows them to add paid fire and paid law enforcement. It's very simple. All they do, if they have a professional that lives in their locality, do it just like they do for volunteers currently, each year.
Questions of the patron? Senator McPike is next in queue, and then Senator Stewart.
Madam Chair, I guess it's more of a comment of a couple of things. Historically, this was created by Dave Brickley in, I think, 1988 or so, because the volunteer section was essentially using your vehicle to respond to emergency incidents across the communities, and this, frankly, changes the context entirely, I think, for this code section, and I do have some concerns about where this ends and sort of the intent of the original legislation.
Thank you, Senator McPike. Senator Favola, you were in queue, then you came out, now Senator Stewart, and then Senator Favola.
I only asked one question.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to comment, Madam Chair, this could be a really useful tool, particularly in rural Virginia. What we have seen is a lack of volunteers for the rescue squads and the local fire departments, less on the fire departments. We've still got some volunteers, but that's waning, and they've almost all had to go to paid rescue services, first responder, and I know Senator McPike's very familiar with that, and it just helps to try to recruit people. And then what happens is if you've got somebody who lives in Essex, they're driving to Spotsylvania or north to try to get a better salary. And it makes it really difficult for the smaller jurisdictions to recruit people. And I think this could be really, really helpful. And it is a local option. So the local Board of Supervisors would make the determination as to whether or not they want to do it and if they can absorb the impact.
Mic on. Okay. Anyone in the audience like to speak in favor of the bill? Opposition? Committee? It's been moved and properly seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor of reporting Senate Bill 1?
Madam Chair.
Oh, Senator
Yeah.
Senator McBride?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just understand one of the provisions that complicates this piece of legislation, even as it stands today, is that organizations across counties, if I'm living here and I work somewhere else, I don't get the credit, or there'll be fights between the two. And so unless there's mutual agreement, there's a whole other subset of things that goes on behind the scenes of whether or not the residency application for my local tax or not. And so just so you know, there's other factors that will complicate this, specifically in the macro sense. So,
Madam Chair, if I just wrap up, this would only apply to residents who are providing those services in that locality. There's absolutely no reason they would give a tax benefit to someone who lives in their locality who's providing it somewhere else, and they're already doing it for volunteers. This gives them an added incentive to bring in people to live in their community and provide law enforcement or firefighter services in their community.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to report, as I recall. All in favor of Senate Bill 114, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 7, no 7.
Ooh. Where's Senator Deeds? Thank you, committee, Madam Chair.
Next in queue for a bill, Senator Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I have Senate Bill 194. This bill would remove the...
I think you have an amendment. We have a committee amendment.
Okay.
We'll have the council report.
Madam Chair, the amendment, or the bill as introduced would remove the sunset. The amendment just extends it 2 years instead.
It's been approved. There's a motion to adopt the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Nays have the same right. Senator Van Valkenburg.
Madam Chair, the bill as amended just extends the sunset for 2 years to allow the locality's authorization to assign a rate of tax or assessment different from the general tangible personal property rate on certain automobiles, passenger trucks, motor vehicles, and other vehicles. And this first came up because of the sharp rise in evaluations during COVID, which led to huge assessments that many people couldn't afford. And in 2022, we gave localities the ability to offer some tax relief if they chose to do so. And so this would extend it to 2 years. Some localities are giving that relief, and this would allow them to continue to do so.
Any member of the committee? Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator, I actually carried this bill, and I recall as part of doing this, Senator Newman was very concerned about its application going forward and insisted on this sunset. And I think we needed to do it. It was a good thing to do. But can they also raise the rates under the bill, just like they could actually lower the rates because they're separated? And that was one of his big concerns, and I think he mentioned that to the committee at that point.
Mike, I don't believe so, but...
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, Mike Sherman with the County of Henrico. Senator, that I'm not sure. We have lowered the rate and would be certainly open to a provision that didn't allow it to go any higher than the larger rate to begin with. We actually asked the senator to bring the bill forward because with the sunset that was included, the timing of if we came next year to do it, you'd have this partial year problem, and we liked it. We would like to continue to do it. Moving forward, if it's the committee's will to limit it to 2 years, so be it. But the concern, if the concern for the sunset was people kind of going in the wrong direction with this, certainly open to the limitation there.
Madam Chair, I would just add that's certainly not the goal. So,
Madam Chair, I don't oppose it. I just was curious about that. The committee was very concerned about that when I brought the bill, and that was the reason for the sunset. And so I just asked that question, but I don't oppose it.
Okay. Other members of the committee? Senator Favola?
Madam Chair, I wonder if the VACO representative is here. Katie Boyle, VACO has a position on this.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Senator Favola. We don't have a position on this bill. I understand some jurisdictions did use this authority. I'd have to go back to my files to see which ones did, but yeah, we have no objection to removing the sunset or extending it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking for public comment. Anyone speaking in favor?
Eric Nybach again, Fauquier County Commissioner of Revenue. And to answer Senator's question, we already have the general class rate that is established, and all the sunset will do is actually it'll force that personal property to be retied to that general class rate, and it can't go above the general class. So if they were going to actually raise the rate, they would have to raise the general class of the personal property rate as well. This just allows it to stay separate. One of the main reasons why I support this bill for our constituent is in 2025, you're going to have some localities that are basically forced to give a tax raise, a tax increase to their constituents. So thank you.
Any further comment from the public? Back to the committee, the motion? It's been moved and probably second that Senate Bill 194 be reported with the amendment. All in favor, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 13, no 0.
Ayes 13, no 0. The bill is reported with the amendment. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Next in queue, and for the next speaker, it's going to be
Mulchi is here.
Senator Mulchi.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. This is a piece of legislation, Senate Bill 146, that I inherited from Senator Ruff. It would add Prince Edward County to the list of counties that enable them to collect up to 1% in additional sales tax revenue for the construction or renovation of schools. Currently, the localities that are able to do this include the counties of Charlotte, Gloucester, Halifax, Henry, Mecklenburg, Northampton, Patrick, Pittsylvania, and the city of Danville.
Thank you. Are those people lining up to speak in favor of your bill?
I do have some speakers.
Well, then let's go and hear from them.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Senate Finance Committee. My name is Kanan Townsend, and my day job, I serve as the Executive Director of the Robert Russo Moak Museum, but I'm also a parent of one current student at Prince Edward Elementary, and we'll have 2 more following behind her. Additionally, I serve on the Prince Edward County School Board, and I am a great-grandson of a plaintiff from Brown v. Board of Education from the Davis case in Prince Edward County, and my father lost 5 years of his education when the schools closed during the school closures in Prince Edward County as well. So all of that to say, have a lot of experience and knowledge with dealing with the school systems in Prince Edward County, and they have been in a pretty tragic state for a good long time. I know that is something common throughout many localities in Virginia, so I'm sure others will definitely agree with us. And we've known that we've needed new schools for a very long time as well. The problem has been figuring out ways to really pay for and finance that. Unfortunately, we don't have some of the resources that many other localities in the state do have. And so I do think we do support this bill because I think it will give us kind of some of those pathways and avenues to pay for the construction that we know that we have needed, and hopefully we'll set a precedent kind of going forward for other localities to do the same, to fundraise for their own school districts. And this, of course, will just be the referendum on the ballot, not implementing the sales tax increase immediately, but would love the opportunity for the residents in Prince Edward County to decide and vote for that. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Senate Finance Committee. My name is Doug Stanley. I have the honor to serve as the County Administrator for Prince Edward County. I'm here to speak in favor of legislation that would allow Prince Edward to join the list of localities who can already do this by providing an additional 1% sales tax. This is not our first time advocating for this tax. We've been grappling for years with how to address deficiencies in our school facilities. The most serious concerns are leaking roofs and mold at Prince Edward County Elementary School. There are 7 sections of the school, the first of which was constructed in 1969 and has been in continuous use since. Without significant renovations and or construction of replacement buildings, the elementary school will not meet the public health and safety needs of our children and staff. The current estimate is $43 million. It's hard for a rural locality in Southside Virginia to snap our fingers and come up with a debt service for $43 million. The voters of Prince Edward will ultimately make the decision on whether this is the correct path for our community if you give us that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Jeremy Bennett, representing the Virginia Association of Counties. We support our member, Prince Edward County, in this quest. Again, there's 9 counties that have this authority. 8 are exercising it successfully. It's been a real game changer in places, also in Southside, like Halifax County. They're able to build a new high school. And we appreciate the Senator carrying on the legacy of Senator Ruff and urge the committee to support this and the other school construction bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jay Deck with the Virginia Education Association. We also support this bill. This is an option for a locality to help improve the students. And believe it or not, sometimes these buildings that are falling and the kids happen to be in leaky roof buildings and whatnot really does affect their education. So for those reasons, we support the bill.
Thank you, Jay.
Madam Chair, members of the Senate Finance Committee, I'm Keith Perrigan. I'm school superintendent in Washington County, but president of the Coalition of Small and Rural Schools of Virginia. 81 school divisions are a member of our coalition, and we have a lot of challenges as far as building construction goes, and we also support this bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Senator Eben?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask a question of the patron. Senator, I was wondering if we were to support this to allow Prince Edward to impose the additional sales tax, would you be supportive of other legislation that would allow other localities to have the same options?
Yes, Senator Eben, I would have to.
Thank you.
I can't expect you to support my legislation if I didn't support other localities that want to do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that, Senator. It doesn't always happen. Senator Favola?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I expect if we support this and Senator McPike's bill passes, this will just be rolled into Senator McPike's bill. And I will just say I did serve on the School Construction and Modernization Committee, and we did go across the Commonwealth. And I can tell you there aren't many revenue streams in some parts of the state. The only way they can really renovate their schools is through applying an additional sales tax. This is done through referendum, and I am happy to give the voters an opportunity to improve their schools.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Senator Favola, but I don't think we will be rolling these bills together because the House has already passed the bill. Am I correct?
I think it's we give the opportunity because the House doesn't always pass the big bill.
Okay. We probably will not roll these in together. Okay. Senator?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You want to wrap it up?
Ma'am?
Other comments?
I don't have any other comments other than, Madam Chairman and members of the committee, that Prince Edward County would like for this not to be rolled into others because there is just such an urgent need that they're afraid that it'll get tied up, and they really need to move forward quickly with their school construction because the school is in such dire need of something urgently to happen there. So that is the reason that they wish for it not to be rolled in. If we must, we must, but we would prefer not to.
Senator Favola, you're still in queue. Did you still want to? Okay. Senator, I would like for you to pronounce your name. Mokai, so people can stop massacring your name.
It's okay. I'm used to it. Sometimes I forget.
Oh, she's got a sense of humor. I love her. Committee? Motion?
Second.
It's been moved and probably second that the bill be reported. That's Senate Bill 114. All in favor, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 11, noes 2.
Ayes 11, noes 2. The bill will be reported. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee.
I think we're going to go to the committee next. So we're going to go to you, Senator Locke. And that's going to be with Senate Bill 216. Yes, ma'am. Because we're pretty much done with the other part.
He's not here.
Oh, you can present your bill from here.
Thank you, ma'am. Senate Bill 216, which creates a revenue sharing license plate for Virginia's commemoration of the nation's 250th birthday. It simply follows a precedent of, essentially what this does is it follows the precedent established by other statewide commemorations. The license plate is exempt from requirements of a certain number of prepaid applications. There will be an annual fee of $25 to purchase a plate, of which $15 is credited to the Virginia VA 250 Special Fund and $10 is credited to DMV. DMV has the artwork already done. and it will go into production with the passage of this legislation. There is not an anticipated fiscal impact as a portion of the plate sales is returned to DMV. So I hope it is the pleasure of the committee to pass the bill.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Locke. Senator Eben.
I just wanted to know if this came out unanimous of transportation and move to report.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically.
Ayes 12, no 0.
Ayes 12, no 0. The bill reports. Thank you. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have Senate Bill 14, which is a similar topic of what was just discussed with Senator Mulcahy, if I got it right, Madam Chair. I'm practicing as well. To essentially provide the same authority of a 1% of real estate tax option to all localities. Obviously, this is an ongoing legislative venture into adding additional localities year over year, and this really would take this statewide. This is, I think, an important endeavor from the School Modernization Commission that several of us served on, and I carried this bill last year within Senator McClellan, and I think it's an important context that we finally push this across the finish line and provide the wider context for school construction. As you've heard earlier in testimony, over $25 billion in backlog, and frankly, schools all across Republican areas, Democratic areas, urban, rural, all the contexts, all have the same issues, and it's really about getting dedicated funding sources to fix this long-term problem of investing in our infrastructure for our kids, Madam Chair. And so that is the bill, just a different approach versus one locality at a time to really do it blanket. I think we're up to, we have Charlotte County, Gloucester County, Henry, Mecklenburg, Northampton, Patrick, Pittsylvania City, Danville, and obviously Prince Edward. This committee also endorsed. There's several other bills going through the other chamber also to add additional localities, and this would, frankly, hopefully, if passed as both chamber, provide just that option for that local referendum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. On this bill, we do need public comment. Are there those who would like to speak in favor of the bill?
Thank you, Madam Chest. Can you
Yes,
hear me?
ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. My name
Did
is
you
Denise.
state your name so that everybody know who you are?
Yes. My name is Denise Harrington, and I'm Advocacy Director for the League of Women Voters of Virginia. Many of you are aware that the League of Women Voters of Virginia conducted an exhaustive study on education equity. It was chaired by Mary Jennings in Washington County, and the co-chair was Beth Obenshane in Montgomery County. We first looked at rural schools, and then they began to see a certain pattern with, they talked to Mr. Camus in Richmond City and several other places that had declining tax base. And so it was Petersburg also was involved, but every rural area, some parts of Chesterfield even. And so in conducting this study in school modernization and looking at buildings, it's already been stated, the concern regarding declining tax base and not being able to keep up with the schools. And so I'd just like to say this. I'll be happy to get a copy of that study, but we also have a one-pager as well. But one of the things I'd really like for you all to consider with this bill, 21st century students need 21st century schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Because of the long list of people who want to speak, I'd like for you all to make it as brief as possible because the bill is not in any trouble. And if you'd like to give us written comments, we'd take those as well. But right now, I'm going to put everybody on 1 minute time limit because of the long list.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
I just started the timer.
Oh, sorry, Madam Chair. Jeremy Bennett, representing the Virginia Association of Counties. Thanks, Senator McPike, for carrying this bill. We strongly support this Long Hill VACO priority.
Thank you. Very good.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. J.T. Kessler on behalf of the Virginia School Boards Association. Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jay Deck with the Virginia Education Association. We also support the bill and thank Senator McPike.
Thank you, Jay.
Laura Gorin with the Commonwealth Institute. We support the bill along with the 22-member Fund Our Schools Coalition. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Kathy Bircher on behalf of Stafford County strongly support this legislation, appreciate Senator McPike bringing it forward. It is a top legislative priority for Stafford County. Additionally, on behalf of Alexandria City Public Schools, we also support the bill.
Wonderful.
James Turpin, Coalition of High Growth Communities. We support the bill and associate ourselves with the Virginia Association of Counties comments.
Thank you, Jay.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Josette Bolivar with the Virginia Municipal League. This is one of our top priorities. We also support the bill and thank the patron.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Jerry Wilson with the City of Newport News, and we do support this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Don Robertson. I'm the Assistant County Administrator of Isle of Wight County. This is our county's #1 priority. Legislatively, thank you to Senator McPike. We are enthusiastically supporting this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning. Patrick Finner representing Newport News Public Schools and Falls Church City Public Schools, and we both strongly support this bill. Thank you for considering it.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you so much for your public service. My name is Dave Snyder, Falls Church City Council, and we're strongly supportive of this legislation. We're a small, urban, but rapidly growing community, and we share the same challenges that our rural colleagues share, and strongly support this legislation. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Sarah Taylor with the City of Alexandria. We thank the patron. We support the bill and ask for your support.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Keith Perigin, the 81 schools in the Coalition of Small and Rural Schools strongly support this bill and appreciate the opportunity for our citizens to choose whether or not they want to have higher taxes so that our students can have better schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Emily O'Brien on behalf of the Virginia Business Roundtable for Early Education. We support the legislation and thank the patron for bringing it forward.
Thank you, Emily.
Hi, I'm Laura Bateman, representing the 17 member cities of the Virginia First Cities Coalition, who've had a long-standing position in support of this legislation, and thanks to Senator McPike for bringing it forward. We hope you'll support it.
Thank you, Laura.
Good morning, David Blunt. On behalf of the localities in the Thomas Jefferson Planning District region, we support the bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Senator Favola.
I move to report the bill.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
I don't have your proxy. It's not coming up. Okay. You gave somebody a proxy, and it just, my apologies.
My thing is not voting.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Ayes 10, noes 4.
Ayes 10, noes 4. Senate Bill 14 will be reported. I know, but he came in late. Should I just go? I'm going to go to Senator Reeves, and then I see that Senator Suline is back, so we'll go to him next. So, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have Senate Bill 9 before the committee. Madam Chair, this is just another bulb on a Christmas tree bill that's going to allow it's a technical nature, allow locality and district I represent, Orange County. It amends 58.1, 3274, allowing Orange County, Virginia to establish the Department of Real Estate. They came to me with this bill. I told them I'm happy to carry it. It allows Orange County to enter an agreement with contiguous localities establishing a joint Department of Real Estate. It's just simply enabling legislation in addition to the other counties already listed on the bill. I have somebody here from the county that can speak to the bill further if we need him.
Bring your speakers up, please.
Good morning, Joshua Crawford. On behalf of the Commissioner's Office in the County of Orange and the county itself, we support this bill. The Commissioner is 100% behind it.
Any questions by any member of the committee? Senator Favola?
Madam Chair, I move that we report the bill.
Your voice is so light I didn't hear you. Oh, it's been moved and probably second that the bill be reported. That's Senate Bill 9. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Bull.
Okay, now we're done with all of the Finance Committee members. We will return now to the non-Senate Finance Committee members, and the only bill left in that queue is Senator Sudeline.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got Senate Bill 151. One of the...
Madam Chair, the committee substitute would remove references in the bill to 46.2-2011.5. The bill has introduced remove fees specific to transportation network companies when applying for DMV certificates. The substitute retains current law with respect to those transportation network companies.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the bill? Members of the committee?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
This bill was heard in the
yes.
in the Senate Transportation Committee. I believe this is an agency bill. It's really a cleanup. It was reported unanimously, and at the appropriate time, I move that we report the bill.
It's been moved and properly second that the bill be reported. All in favor of that motion, please designate electronically, yea or nay.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. Senate Bill 151 will be reported with the substitute.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Sudeline. Believe it or not, that concludes the docket. So the committee will rise.
Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.